welcome back to my channel. My name is Jeanine Amapola, now Ward, because I married this man 3 months ago. And this is my husband, Caleb.
What's up? You ready to do this?
I'm ready to do this. Okay, so we're really excited about today's video because we got married 3 months ago. We are now, I feel like, having like the come down after the wedding season, which I know sounds crazy, but it really did take us that long to really settle in. And now we're ready to give you guys more advice on engagement, wedding planning, how to buy a ring.
The wedding process started for me way before, you know, even engagement, because you have to plan the engagement and everything out. And so I feel like we just have like a wealth of knowledge of do's, don'ts, the things we would avoid. And then if you're a single person watching this video, you know, save this, you know, because this will help you out in the future.
Absolutely. Send this to your man.
Send this to your man.
So for today's video, we're going to be talking about engagement season, wedding planning, how to plan a wedding, and just things to really think about as you are prepping for marriage. We asked you guys to submit your questions and you delivered. So we're going to be answering these today. Let's get into it.
Let's do it. Okay, so for the first question, it is, where did you guys buy your wedding bands and how can I go about doing that? As a man, it's very difficult to understand different price options and where to choose from.
Such a valid question because finding the right jeweler can actually be very difficult. It's also super helpful to go to someone that someone actually recommends so you can trust them. They can vouch on their behalf. And we're really excited because we got to work with Charleston Rings and we could not recommend them more. We actually flew out to Charleston. We got an entire experience. It was so fun. We got to go to their store. They're family owned, a small business, godly, and just such a fun company to work with in general. And they really educated us on diamonds. We got to look at all the options. So if you're a man watching this and you're like, I want to customize something for my girl, or if you're a girl about to get engaged, send this to your man.
They really do personalize the experience. And the whole diamond industry is so weird to begin with. And you can get screwed over really easy if you don't work with the right company. So Charleston Rings is perfect. What we're actually gonna do now is share some of the footage from our experience in Charleston. But real quick, even in the bio, you can click their link. Jeanine and I's wedding bands that we have, you could actually purchase.
You can buy these exact ones that we custom made. You guys can buy these exact ones. We love them.
And mine is super interesting because it has like diamonds on the sides of the ring.
Yeah, we'll include a close-up for you guys.
So we are gonna stop this video and we are cutting to Charleston now.
Hello, Charleston.
Future home.
It's so cute. How's the dress? All right, we are about to see our custom wedding bands for the first time. I'm so excited. I'm like kind of nervous, but I think it's gonna be so good.
That's gonna be fun.
Let's do it.
Here we go. Hey, let's go.
Oh my gosh.
I might need that.
It's beautiful.
That's beautiful.
Wait, you should put it on. Oh my gosh.
This is
perfect.
It's exactly what you want on.
Oh my god.
That's better than anything that you have tried on.
Absolutely.
And it's like the perfect distance.
Perfect.
Here we go.
I can't stop looking at it.
This is so sick.
My.
Wow. This looks better than.
It's better in person and everything.
I can't believe this looks exactly like.
It's perfect.
The thing I tried on.
Our experience, we could not recommend them enough. Like I said, they really make sure your experience is great. So if you want to go out there, if you guys want to look at the rings together, they made our dream rings and these things are so sick and you would not believe the compliments we get on these things.
They freaking engraved her initials in them, our wedding day, everything. And
they put my birthstone in his ring.
Yeah. So not only do they do wedding bands, they also do engagement rings. We didn't purchase our engagement ring from them because we didn't know about them at the time. But they do diamonds. So of any type. So
there is a lot of debate between natural versus lab-grown diamonds. We decided to go with the lab-grown ones just because it is more ethically sourced, and it was just something that wasn't really that big of a deal to us. So definitely check them out if you guys are looking for any type of ring. If you're in this engagement season, about to get engaged, this is definitely your company. We'll have the links down below. Check them out. We love them. And now on to the next question. So a lot of people mainly want to know about budgeting, which we totally understand because weddings can be so freaking expensive. And a lot of the questions are revolving around like, if you could splurge on a couple things, what would those things be versus where would you cut costs? So for me personally, food and music are like non-negotiable to me. Food, everyone, you would not believe the amount of compliments we got on our food. So I'd say invest in your food. Even if you don't spend that much money, just finding a company that you know tastes good, and even when they cater it, it's still gonna taste good there.
Yeah.
So we did a food tasting with Vestals. We loved it.
Yeah.
I would say music sets the vibe of the night.
So mine is flowers. Like I was so mad when I saw how much we were gonna have to spend on the flowers. I wasn't mad. I was just like, this is a ripoff. But it's crazy what it does and how it fills out your entire wedding.
Yeah.
So I would say don't cut cost on like the flowers aspect.
Okay, so here's some tips on the flowers. You can repurpose the flowers. You can repurpose the bridesmaids' bouquets, your bouquet. Once you move out of the ceremony, you can move those bouquets to the tables, which is what they commonly do. There's also some fake flowers that look extremely real. Definitely look into those. Like there's so many ways you can cut around it. I love the amount of flowers we had, but you can also add baby's breasts and stuff like that because it makes those cheaper. And so I also think flowers is not a way to cut, but I do think you can cut costs on a little bit of lighting. Like we added, string lights, and it did make such a difference, but it wasn't essential. We added like up lights, didn't necessarily need those. So certain things like that it's like, that would be nice to have. We also, on our exit, we decided to just do sparklers because anything else was going to be either a ton of money or just something we didn't really want. So sparklers are fairly inexpensive.
So I don't know necessarily that I have an answer for what I would cut cost on, but how you can cut costs is negotiate.
Yeah.
So if you're not a negotiator, or your fiance is a negotiator, or let's say neither of you are a negotiator, find someone who is and have them help you find, like, let's say you have a florist company, find 3 or 4 other florist companies and then price every single one. Pick the one you want and then negotiate, just like you would, I don't know if you were getting a job offer on a salary or something.
Or a car or whatever.
Yeah, and so negotiate. There's so much margin because these companies mark up their prices super high because it's like going to an NFL game because you don't have very many options. This is expensive. This is something that a wedding can really hurt your finances. We had a conversation early on into our engagement, and I was like, hey, I think this should be our budget.
So he set a very low budget because he was like, I think we need to aim for this. Me knowing, because my friends have been married, how expensive weddings are, I was like, I really don't think we're gonna hit that, but let's aim for it. In the beginning, we were really, really close, and then those little hidden fees just start stacking up.
Here's why you should aim low on your budget, because if you set a budget that's like, X dollar amount, you're probably gonna go over it. If you set it low and you go a little over it, like that's okay.
Yeah.
But if you set your budget too high, you're just naturally gonna go over it. And so that's what I would do. Negotiate is your friend. Don't be afraid to offend people. That's what I would say.
I agree. And I also think the way to save money is just try to do certain things by yourself if you can. For example, like we brought a lot of our own like kind of decor, and thankfully, like I'm not gonna negate the fact that I did have a ton of partnerships. Like that is 100% how we save money. Thank the Lord we did get those, but I understand that's not everyone's case. So there were certain things like we didn't get the most elaborate cake personally. Like that wasn't a huge priority to us because to me, you eat the cake, people don't really remember it. Like people loved our cake. They were like, that was so amazing. So cake wasn't that big of a priority to us. We printed out a ton of photos, put them around.
Yeah.
And so finding ways you can DIY things too that doesn't necessarily look cheap.
Yeah.
So do what you can, work with your bridesmaids, your mom, whomever is gonna help you. So yeah, those are just some tips to save money. Honestly, my final tip would be use your resources. Reach out to as many people you know that might be in the industry, a friend that has a backyard, a friend that whatever, like use your resources, make sure they're credible, but don't be afraid to ask people for help because people want to celebrate you. even for bridal brunch or our couple shower, like friends hosted stuff for us. So don't be afraid to just ask and make sure you thank them and give them a gift back. How to choose your bridal party. Now this can be
This can make or break.
Oh my gosh, you can ruin friendships like this. It gets super iffy.
Yeah. I think obviously you need to make the political decisions. I think there are certain things as far as family members. I do not regret having my brother as a best man, having cousins that have been in my life forever. It's gonna be very difficult because in that present moment, you might look back and you go, well, I don't really talk to that cousin anymore, but that cousin has been in your life for 19, 20 years. And you're like, I think I want to choose this friend that I've been only friends with for a year. I think don't make that mistake because friendships come and go so quickly. And I think it's just best to like choose your family members, people that if you were about to die tomorrow, people who would be around the hospital bed, people who would, if you were
fight for your marriage if you were struggling.
Yeah, so pick people who have been with you and don't pick that friend that is going to start drama or make it about themselves. Throughout this decision process, you're gonna see who like your true friends are.
It's really true. And I think what's hard is that the inevitable thing is that someone's feelings are going to get hurt. We had feelings, people's feelings get hurt too, and try to manage that as best as possible, but inevitably someone's gonna get hurt. And so what you really wanna do is have those people standing up next to you that are for you, for your marriage, for your relationship, that know you guys. And even if maybe your friend, like I had friends that lived in California and Nashville, didn't get to spend as much time with Caleb, but they still knew him and they were for us. And so you want those people that maybe you don't have the longest history with them, but they've been invested, they've been praying over you, they've blessed this relationship, they're with you, they've been rocking with you. That's what we wanted. And so it was hard though, because I had people that I'd known for 6, 7, 15 plus years that I didn't have as my bridesmaids. And that was really, really tough. I found other ways to include.
You also have 4 sisters.
That too. But try to find other ways to maybe include them. Like I did a house party, which basically means you're honoring these people as, hey, I love you. You're not sitting necessarily next to me up there, but you're included on the bridal brunch or the bachelorette party or the other extra things that you're doing. And so it's bound to happen that things are going to get iffy, but choose those people that you're like, regardless, you are my ride or die. And I would say also being mindful that weddings are expensive. So if you're asking someone to be your bridesmaid, if they financially cannot do it, because there's so many different things that come within that season, being mindful of that. If someone's like, hey, I simply cannot even afford to be your bridesmaid, maybe you can find ways to bless them back, or just understand that, hey, if you're asking this person, you're also asking a lot from them, and being mindful of that as well and honoring their time, their commitments, and their money. Ask this is just conflict and like things that you need to be aware of in engagement season. It's one of the best seasons of your life, but also the most difficult. And no one can really prep you for it because you're literally altering your life. You're discussing finance, sex, home, future, careers, so many different things, family.
He said family.
Synchronize?
We're on sync. It's such a high when you propose in that engagement party, and you do the post on Instagram and everyone's celebrating you, and then it goes to that first, you're viewing a venue, and then you see how expensive that is, and then you see, there's drama starting here, and then there's your relationship. You guys haven't even done the premarital conversations yet, and things are getting brought to light, and there's trauma, and there's all these dynamics. And so the best, and it is also the hardest season. I think it's honestly harder than marriage. Being married now, there's so much security,
so much easier,
safetyness. And so just know that everyone's going through it. And if you're in engagement season and it's very difficult, and you think, oh my gosh, should it be this difficult? Just know that there's a lot of other couples. Now, when I say difficult, I don't mean abusiveness. I don't mean like y'all are
toxic, throwing things at each other.
You're getting caught doing crazy things, but like disagreeing constantly about how you want to do finances, or disagreeing about how you want this and that, because a different side of your partner does come out when you hit the knee, because you're more comfortable when you're
and more stress arises.
So give yourself grace and work through the conflict. Do not put a rug over it, because it will manifest in marriage.
Yeah, that's so important, because anything that is already in your dating season that was maybe bad or toxic or unhealthy or unresolved is still going to manifest in marriage. Like you may think, oh, this will go away, it'll be fine. No, you do not want to cover that up. And so my number one tip is bring people in your season with you, people that have already been married, that have already done it, to pray over you, to be like, hey, is this normal? Are we crazy? Have people just kind of talk you off the ledge, because no one wants to talk about how hard it is, because no one wants to seem like their relationship is bad or toxic. And I'm not saying that, but let's be honest, it's a really hard season with a lot of feelings and emotions, and you're planning this massive day. So something that really helped us is that we would pray together, and we would literally take a deep breath, and we'd look at each other and be like, baby, we are planning our wedding. We are about to get married. This is the best day of our life. This is exciting. Like when we would get so stressed out, like the seating chart and you didn't do that. We'd be like, okay, we're getting married.
You get one engagement season. You might as well enjoy it. And guess what? People are gonna go, it's so hard, it's so hard. It can also be really fun and really exciting. And don't waste it. Don't waste it arguing about the small stuff. One last question. What would you say to the person, like advice on the morning of the wedding or like the weekend of the wedding?
Just know that things may go wrong and things are not going to be perfect. People are going to show up late. People are going to get lost. He had a concussion literally 2 days before our wedding, which was insane. And so just knowing, like, letting things be, everything will work out. It'll all happen the way it's supposed to happen. And just enjoy your day. Like, you don't want to look back on that day and be like, oh my gosh, I was so stressed out, you know? Okay, so a lot of other questions we got were just how to overall prepare for marriage. How do you know it's time to be engaged? Did you do premarital counseling, books you read? So yes, we did premarital counseling. We did also a 6-week course at our church where they asked us a ton of questions. We had to answer a ton of questions. Read some books. So we did 101 questions to ask before we get engaged. I'll have that on the screen. Started also reading a book called A Fruitful Wife, which is amazing. Reading The Sacred Search is amazing. There's so many marriage books out there. Single, Dating, Engaged, Married by Ben Stewart. Listening to sermons, podcasts.
Really, any sermon by Jonathan Pokluda too is really good. There's so many good things on YouTube with different pastors that talk about how to be a good husband.
And again, just realizing that, you know, you won't know how to do it until you're doing it. And so there's going to be error. There's going to be things you're learning, things that you fail on in the beginning. And so being easy on yourself, but trying to flesh those out as much as possible in the engagement stage or even dating. Honestly, you want to know those major questions pretty much right before you're about to get engaged. Finances, kids, religion, politics, family, where you're going to live, job, career, goals, vision, all sorts of things like that. And so I really like this question. So opinions about wedding trends you're not a fan of. So we personally did not want to do a first look, and we did not do a first look, and we do not regret that.
Not at all.
Having that moment of the doors opening, seeing each other for the first time was the most euphoric, surreal moment of my life. I would never change that.
No first look. I highly recommend it. I'm getting so intense right now. If you don't do a first look, I think it's okay because it's all preference. And that first look moment could be pretty, intimate with no one around. So I do see it, but having to relive that first time you saw her moment twice, I think would be difficult for me to get that really raw experience. I would say for me though, don't spend the majority of your wedding taking photos. We went to our cocktail party. We didn't do that many family photos. We got a bunch of group photos, and then we said adios. Like, we were like, we're enjoying our cocktail hour. We paid all this money for our wedding. We're gonna enjoy it. And our photographer was freaking amazing about it. But I won't understand planning a wedding for 6 months to a year and then taking the whole first 2 hours of your wedding, taking photos. At the end of the day, all you've end up doing is eating and dancing a little bit, and then you have to leave. Your wedding goes by so fast. Take all the photos you possibly can before the wedding, besides the one with your partner. So that's probably like an unpopular one, because we do think, like, obviously get the best photos you can as much as possible, but like, you get your wedding day once. You can always get redressed back up, do the photos again later if you need to. So we love to enjoy our cocktail hour. And I also was not a fan of the garter toss. Did not want to do that. We did not do that in our wedding. I just think it's weird personally, and we didn't do that at our wedding. No cha-cha slide. No.
Yes. No, none of the coordinated synchronized
Cupid
dancing.
shuffle.
Cannot.
No.
Our the DJ sent that over to us. We were like, cross that out, cross that out. We were like, no.
Listen.
That was just our preference.
Also, we are giving some hot takes, so like don't be offended if that's something you want to do. Again, this is personal opinion, and no shame here.
Yeah, no shame. No. Okay, the next question is how to find a good wedding planner. So again, as I said before, ask people that have gotten married already before. So I reached out to a ton of my friends. I also Googled a ton, and I asked on my Instagram for people's recommendations. I ended up interviewing about 3 separate wedding planners. The final one I ended up on was Hunter Orcutt. She was amazing. I was like, this is my girl. Find one that fits your personality.
Having a wedding planner is like hiring a financial advisor. It's kind of hard to hire a financial advisor because you're like, dang, I don't want to pay this fee or whatever, but they end up with their expertise and knowledge save you and make you so much money in 20, 30 years from now. And I think a wedding planner saves you time. They help negotiate on your behalf, and they find things that you don't realize you're messing up on. I think it's a good investment. It's not necessary.
I was gonna say that next.
If you don't have a full-time, maybe if you have a full-time job, but let's say like your schedule allows you to plan a wedding, then I would probably do it yourself. But if you are busy, you're working a ton,
or you want a shorter engagement, I would recommend getting a wedding planner. What I was gonna say is like, if you have more time and you can plan the wedding out yourself, I would recommend. So that is a way you can cut costs. I do think you can plan a wedding by yourself. It's just a lot harder, but I do think you need more time if you're going to do it by yourself. We had about a 5.5 month engagement, so we wanted a wedding planner. Could not have done it without her. So it's just kind of up to you, but make sure you get a day of planner if you're not gonna get an overall wedding planner. Okay, so the next question really fast we want to answer is the timeline. So when should you get engaged? How long should you be engaged? When should you plan your wedding? Again, completely up to you guys and your preference. Originally, what you're gonna wanna do is find a date ASAP. When we got engaged, we immediately picked a date, and that was the day that we picked. We wanted a Saturday, couldn't get it, so we ended up doing a Sunday. So find a timeline that works for all your family members, for you, your fiance, and just again for you to plan it. And if you want a specific venue, just knowing that they may be booked out a year. So it really is up to you. For us, we wanted a 6-month engagement, ended up being 5.5, and we really enjoyed that.
Dude, there's such a debate on, so there's a lot of debate on like weddings on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I'm team Saturday or Sunday, but I think Sunday, I'm so glad we did it because everyone could make it. Everyone could leave after work on Friday. Rehearsal dinner was on the Saturday. Do what's best for you, because a lot of people were like, oh, we have to go to work on Monday. If people are really upset with going to work on Monday, they can just take off. They would have to take off anyway if you were doing it on Saturday, because most people had to leave on a Friday.
I actually really liked Sunday. Yeah. Because also we started the wedding around 4:30, so people could leave early, ended around 10, wasn't too crazy late. So again, just figure out which timeline works best for you, your family, your fiance, and just do that. All right, you guys, this video was very long, but we pray it bless you. We're gonna have a lot more resources down below. I honestly feel like there's so many other things we could talk about, but we do have a podcast called Happy and Healthy. We'll have that link down below where we talk more about engagement. You can go back to our episodes when we were engaged and married and we reviewed our wedding. There's a wedding video on my YouTube channel as well. So definitely use all those resources, and we pray this was a blessing and it helped you guys out. If there's any other wedding advice that we missed, comment down below. Let's help each other out. All right, thank you guys for watching. We pray this was a blessing. All the links will be down below, and I'll see you guys again next week for another video on my YouTube channel. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.